I watched with dismay the deeply distressing summer scenes of England erupting in anarchy last August. Why did these young people riot, and what's been done to prevent further unrest? I went with Addy and Joy to find out more. 74% of the people involved in the riots were under 24 years old. Why do you think that was?
I think it's because we feel that the government isn't offering us any means of a way out. Like, we're not offered regeneration, jobs for the youth, so we kind of feel that, you know, there's no other option.
I don't really feel like I have a voice in the community. I don't think the young people do have a voice in the community.
There is a real problem with young people feeling that they have a stake in society. One, I think that clearly over 1 million young people unemployed is a big problem for this country. Although I do want to emphasise that many hundreds of thousands of young people did not get involved and were active in the rebuilding of their communities after the riots.
A lot of young people with high percentages of unemployment feels hopeless.
I think it's a case of young people feel like they've been forgotten about. There's university cuts, youth services have been cut, we can't get jobs and there's no one doing anything about it, so young people hit out in the only way they knew how.
Some people thought it was, you know, easy to blame things like cuts in EMA, but I have to say, I said that to anybody from the time of the riot onwards. Please don't tell me that somebody who's protesting about the cuts in EMA would find it okay to cheat, to steal a charity box from the shop they were smashing up. That doesn't smack to me as somebody who's got a problem with the system.
Young people, they can stop going out and stop getting drunk and doing all the riff-raff that they do.
The opportunity to riot, cause trouble, maybe get free stuff. It's stupid, really.
Have people at the top, like politicians who have been cheating expensive, have they kind of set a good example? I mean, because a lot of the people that were out rioting had the whole kind of get it for yourself, help yourself kind of attitude. Do you think that they've kind of adopted that from the politicians who are...
I think there is a little bit of a culture, see what you can get for yourself.
Yeah.
I hope the politicians don't accept that example now. Clearly there were problems about expenses, luckily for me, before my time in Parliament. So it wasn't an issue for me. Quite rightly, Parliament set itself a task of cleaning itself up completely, and I think that it has done so.
I do think there's a problem when we connect those who were helping themselves up in shops to things that didn't belong to them. We connect those up to bankers helping themselves to money that didn't belong to them, to journalists helping themselves or listening in when they shouldn't have been, and to police officers taking money and MPs helping themselves. If you imprison the poorest and the most vulnerable, but others are seen to get away with it, that is a problem.
I'm here with Liz Pilgrim, who is the owner of Baby E, whose shop was affected during the riots. Do you think the government are doing enough to kind of help the young people since then?
Well, no, I think definitely needs to be done, and I think it needs to be done at an earlier age. So that we haven't got kids that are getting excluded from school, that, you know, are not, you know, are leaving school with adequate social skills and qualifications to give them a start in life.
Definitely.
And it has to start a lot earlier.
On the whole, I disagree with most that the government's doing in my area. So I would not agree with David Cameron, and I would not agree with the Mayor on their approach to the economy, which I think is making things much harder for people in this community.
Areas where people have abandoned, they put money into fixed up parks and things like that. So ever since the riot, I know it sounds bad, but ever since the riots, we've actually seen funding when usually people would ask where the funding's gone.
I think the government's doing quite a lot, actually. I mean, one of the first things they're doing is tackling education, massive reforms going on in education. Now, they're not going to bear fruit very quickly, but we're also looking at apprenticeships. We're putting on 250,000 apprenticeships for young people. I think we're looking at how we can bring all the agencies together. I mean, I think before we knew that there was, you know, potential for anger, and we needed to do a lot more to help with parts of our society that are broken, but we hadn't necessarily brought it all together. And I think what's happened as a result of the riots is a bit of a wake-up call.
Can you see what happened last year happening again?
No, not even. I think the police are more prepared. It was a spur of the moment thing. I don't think it will happen again.
I hope not, but I think a lot of things need to shape up before any sort of risk can be reduced. In my honest opinion, if there's no regeneration, I actually honestly think,
yes, I actually could see it happening again. Not here per se, but like somewhere else, I could see it happening again.
I want to say no, but I think if things continue on the way they are, it might do. Not in the next 3 or 4 years, but it will happen again at some point if things aren't changed.
I don't think there'll be problems in my constituency because I think the community is so fed up with what's happened as a result of the riots. But of course, in other parts of the country, we could see problems if we don't deal with the underlying causes.